let's take a look at Unit 5, Lesson 3, More Movement. So we're going to translate graphs vertically and horizontally to match situations. So how can we translate the graph of A to match one of the other graphs? Okay, so I'm going to do all of them, and we're going to start with B. So in order to get from A to B, I can translate horizontally 6 units. So we're going to shift right 6 units. Let's take a look at C. If we go from this point to this point, we're going to go down, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. And left, 1, 2, 3, 3 units. That's really ugly. That's okay. D, let's see, we go left 7 units. E, we're going up 6 units. And then F, I'll use purple because I don't have yellow. So we're going this way. So we're going up 3 and to the right 2. Okay. So let's take a look at the second part, new hours for the kitchen. So remember the bakery with the thermostat set to 65 degrees Fahrenheit? So at 5 o'clock a.m., the temperature in the kitchen rises to 85 degrees Fahrenheit due to the ovens and other kitchen equipment being used until they are turned off at 10 a.m. So when the owner decided to open 2 hours earlier, the baking schedule changed to match. So you can see the two graphs. Remember that the first one was H, the second one was G. So Andre thinks, okay, well, when the bakery starts baking 2 hours earlier, that means I need to subtract 2 from the H, and that G of X equals H of X minus 2. So how could you help Andre understand his error in thinking? So if we look at this, we could have Andre look at some specific points. So for example, we have this point here that is 685. And then we can look at our new graph and look at that, and that's 485. And so if I take if I plug in, say I plug in 4 here, then when I plug in 4 here, well, that would be H of 2, and H of 2 is actually over here to 65, and I don't get the same output. I have 65 for my H function, but 85 for my G function. So plugging in some points could help him see that they don't match up, right? Because if I plug in 4 into X for both, then I end up with this point, and they do not give me the same Y values. All right, the graph of F shows the temperatures after a change to the thermostat settings. What did the owner do? So what happened to the graph here when you look at H and F? And I'm gonna make that a little bit smaller so we can see both at the same time. What do you notice happened here? Well, if we look at our point 2 here, we have 270. All right, so there's something that happened to the thermostat here. The thermostat has been raised 5 degrees. So yeah, okay. So the thermostat was raised 5 degrees. Right, so that way it didn't go down below 65 degrees. It was set at 70 at midnight, and so it raises from there. But then what else do you notice? If we look at the peak here, this is the point 790. And when we compare that to our 685, not only do we see a 5 degree increase for the temperature, but what do you notice about the time? We're 1 hour later, right? And so the owner is starting the baking schedule 1 hour later. So the baking schedule starts an hour later. So the ovens are turned on at 6 instead of at 5. All right, so now we want to write an expression for f, so f of x, and we're writing it in terms of the original baking schedule, which was h, right? So up here, if we go back to h, we know that we are adding adding 5 to our temperature, and we're starting an hour later, right? We're starting an hour later. So that means that we are subtracting 1 from x, and we are adding 5 to the output, right? Because remember, f of 7 is equal to h of 6, right? Because that's when the ovens got turned on. F of 7, well, really plus 5, because this was 85 and that's 90. So the ovens got turned on originally at 5, so the maximum temperature started at 6. That's where this 6 comes from, that maximum temperature. But then with the new changes, the maximum temperature is reached at 7 o'clock. So we're subtracting 1 for our x value, right? Because 7 minus 1 is equal to 6, right? If I plug in 7 here, 7 minus 1 is 6, okay? So again, if you are horizontally shifting, right, a shift to the right, I'm going to change color here. Shift to the right means subtract. A shift to the left, oh, I don't know why I wrote rights, not right. Left means you add, okay? All right, we are not going to worry about thawing meat. If you want to do that on your own, you are welcome to. And then there is the summary if you want to take a look at that.